palace and fortress, the Tower of London. My name is Mark. I'm a yeoman warder, or more commonly known as a beef eater. Now, it's my pleasure to be your guide for the next 40 to 50 minutes. We're going to tour through the tower. I'm going to point out some of the historic buildings, tell you some about murder, mystery, and if you're good, the execution of children. Now you know why I want you standing at the front. Now, my story begins in the year of 1066, where William, the Duke of Normandy, known as William the Conqueror, defeated the Saxon King Harold II at the Battle of Hastings. Now, William was crowned King William the First of England on Christmas Day of that year, and he crowned himself, because he was that type of a man. For the next 12 years, he fought his way up and down the country, squashing rebellions, putting down revolts. He then decided he needed a fortress, a citadel, to govern this great city of London. So he chose this as a location, and it was here in the year of 1078 he ordered the building of the first royal palace and fortress of the realm. Today we call it the White Tower, and it stands right in the centre. There's no pointer because you can't see it. And it stands right in the centre. We shall see it later on. Over the next 200 years, successive monarchs continued to add to the defences. The inner Banning Wall has 13 towers. The outer wall has a further 6. All 6 towers on the outer wall face south, provide a fence for attack from the river. Now, another part of the defensive system was the moat, or dip, which stands behind you. It was over 125 feet wide, 15 feet deeper than we can see it today, and it was once filled with water. It was actually dug and designed by a famous Dutchman, a man known as Master Walter, a so-called expert, or so we were told. The idea behind the design was to use the tidal flow of the River Thames. So twice a day, the river would flow into the moat, all around the tower, and keep it clean and sweet smelling. Well, this system worked. Once. The river came rushing in and stayed there. He actually dug the moat too deep. It went from being the largest moat in Europe, and very quickly it became the largest festering, bubbling cesspit in Europe. All the human effluent of the City of London flowed directly into the moat. Out there you'd have seen dead cats, dogs, mother-in-laws, all bobbing around. Those now standing forward a fence, don't care who you were, you would not swim across that to get to us. The only people that did were tourists. But like I said, ladies, this is the first royal palace and fortress of the realm. So over the years, it's been used for many, many different things. Home of the crown jewels and all the royal regalia since the year of 1303. It's been used as an armoury for the storage of all like provisions and stores. We even had the very, very first royal menagerie or zoo with many, many exotic animals. Lions, tigers, bears. Americans are in. We even had an elephant. Now, the elephant was a gift from Louis III of France. One slight problem. Nobody in this country had ever even seen an elephant. So sadly, that magnificent beast passed away after just 14 weeks. It was a big elephant. And the reason why it died, we fed it on red wine and bread. But it did die very happy. But more importantly, this was ranked as one of the most famous prisons in the world. Now, talking of prisoners, and to save your eyes, if you'd like to turn around and look up the hill, you see a large white building with a statue in the centre at the top. Now, below and to the right of that building is a small area known as Trinity Green, located on Tower Hill. Very important to the Tower of London, because it was on that very spot during the 14th and 18th century that many, many executions took place. Over 125 men of noble birth were to lose their heads to the block and axe on that very spot. So let's pause for a few moments and try and imagine the scene up there on the day of an execution. Forget all the buildings, forget all the traffic. Up there, all you would have seen is people. Hundreds of thousands of people gathered round a large raised wooden platform called a scaffold. Now, the victim will be led through the archways of the Tower of London under escort of soldiers, taken up the hill, take the few steps onto the platform. He'll then be met by a giant of a man, all dressed in black leather, with a black leather mask, the executioner. The victim will then deliver a speech. Could be religious, could be political. He'll then turn round, kneel down, roll back his collar, place his head and neck upon a large block of good English oak. The executioner raised the axe into the air. He'd then stand and wait for the victim to give the signal. Once that signal was given, that axe would come crashing down, hopefully severing the head from the body with one blow. The executioner placed the axe upon the ground. He'd then kneel down. He'd pick up the severed, bleeding head, with blood dripping from the stump, the eyes bulging. He would hold the head aloft for all to see, and then proclaim to the crowd, "Behold the head of a traitor! So die all traitors! God save the king!" And the crowd would cheer. Very quietly. The head's then landed upon a pike, taken through the streets of London towards London Bridge. Notice the way I am pointing. London Bridge. Not Tower Bridge. Because in those days, London Bridge was the only bridge across the River Thames. When the head arrived there, taking up a set of ladders across the rooftops, picked up by the ears, and then rammed upon a spike and left there as a sign of fate to all would-be traitors. The birds would swoop down and pluck out the eyes, rip off the flesh, and the skull would decay and fall into the River Thames. And then after a while, end up in our moat. Meanwhile, the headless, blood-stained corpse was placed in a small wooden handcart, brought back down the hill through the archways of the Tower of London, up into the centre, and buried in the Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you ready to retrace the steps of one of these blood-stained corpses?
Yeah!
Are you sure?
Yeah!
Follow me.